Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think Be Do Leadership, and it is day 14. Can you believe it? Day 14 of Team on Fire, giving you hints and tips on how to create a high-performing team in your business, how to grow your leaders, to grow your business. And today, day 14, we are looking at which of these leaders or these types of leaders are in your business. What have you seen in terms of like good leaders and maybe not so good leaders? And the reason why we're doing this today is because I was having a bit of a giggle actually with a group of clients yesterday. We were on WhatsApp and we were talking about different types of leaders and the names that people give to leaders. And we were talking about the mushroom leader. And we've all heard about that one. I hope so. I'm going to talk about it, but most people have heard of that one. But it made us all laugh. And then we came up with a bunch of different things and objects for leaders. And the reason why we do this is because it makes us relate to them, and it makes us realize and be more conscious of the way in which people show up and the impact that has on people. And so whether that be, oh my goodness, I realize I do that, or I'm a bit like that, or you're looking in on your team and you're realizing that some of them are turning up in certain ways, or you've experienced this with a boss where you thought, oh my goodness, I can't work for this person because of X. And so we wanted to look at those in a light-hearted way, but in a really useful way, because actually, if you recognize yourself, then you might be able to change for the better, let's say, or you might think, no, I really like that. But if you're recognizing that in your team, then we need to bring out the consciousness of how we show up. And so we can do it in a way that resonates with people, makes them remember, rather than down in the bits of detail about the behaviors, but giving a caricature or a summary allows people to kind of really, buy into it, take on board, that sort of thing. So that's what we want to do today. And so here we go. So the first one, I'm going to talk about the mushroom one. Why not? Let's do that one first. So the mushroom, you may have heard the phrase, well, don't worry about us down here because we're just fed on, and I'm not going to say the rude word, we're fed on poop and we're kept in the dark. So the first one, the mushroom leader, is because they don't tell you anything. So they don't tell you, they don't communicate with you, but mainly because they don't think they need to. So you're given bits of information, you're given what you might hear this one, I need to know, or this is what you need to know, or you're on a need to know basis. And really what this is about is, as a mushroom leader, is not recognizing the benefit of creating a collaborative and communicative environment where people feel like they belong. Because if you think about it, if we've got people who are saying, well, I'm fed on poop and I'm kept in the dark, how engaged are the team members going to be with that boss? What do you think? No, probably not very, because if we feel like we don't get all the information and we're giving it on the need to know, and we feel like we're left out, or we feel like we're just not part of the team, we're not respected, then we're not going to give our extra effort for that. We're not going to be engaged. Maybe we believe in the cause of it, but we don't really feel like we're engaged with that person. It also means that we're often probably not engaged with other people in the team, because when we're only given a certain amount of information and somebody else is only given a certain amount, then it's like splits, it divides. It's like divide and conquer. So people who feel like they are mushrooms and who have a mushroom leader probably feel it's a fairly divisive environment, and therefore it's not a trusting environment. So they won't give up information themselves. They probably won't share problems, they won't share their concerns, they'll just stay under the radar and do the thing they want to do. So what you lose out on, if you're a bit of a mushroom leader, or if you've experienced this, you probably would understand it, is you don't get people really buying into the whole thing. You're not really there to join together and to work together, which means they're not as productive, which means they're not as collaborative, which means that we don't do as much as we can. So the mushroom leader, if you've got one there, then they need to learn to be a little bit more communicative. Now, next one then. This one we liked was the seagull leader. What has a seagull got to do with anything? Well, think about it. What does a seagull do? They fly around, they look down on stuff, they're pretty high level, and they make a lot of noise, but they don't tend to really be a team player. They don't tend to get involved and to support anybody else. They're a little bit in it for themselves because they'll nick your fish and chips at the first opportunity. So a seagull leader is like, they talk's a good job, but they really aren't delivering what they say they're going to deliver. They're not really in it for the team. They're much more there for themselves. And what that means is that, again, the trust isn't there, but for a different reason. Is that, well, I feel like they're probably just gonna talk a lot, but no action, let's say, and nothing that's going to help me. And so possibly do a bit of pooping on people's heads as well. And so it's much more about the big I am. There's probably the sort of person that you may actually think is the kind of leadership type, if that makes sense. We might describe them as a leadership type, just because they talk a lot, and they move fast and they're doing lots of stuff. But actually, the impact on other people in the team is often fairly negative because that person's too much in it for themselves. Okay, does that make sense? And imagine if you've got one of the leaders in your business, what it means is everybody else kind of like, I don't really want to be associated. I don't really trust them because I don't think they've got my interests at heart. And so we hear a lot from them, but we're not really wanting to work with them. We probably end up working for them rather than with them. So if you've got one of them, be careful. They probably don't have your interest at heart. And if you are one of them and you talk a lot but you don't listen, or you struggle to listen and you struggle to slow down and bring people with you, then you may have a problem with people feeling included, feeling that they trust you, and wanting to work with you. Okay, next. Then we've got another bird now. We've got the ostrich. The ostrich is somebody who is probably a bit more quiet and who maybe is like really, really good at the job that they did before, but now they're in a leadership position. Okay, the ostrich is somebody who maybe doesn't have great people skills, and so they're technically capable, but they're not really bringing the team together. They're not really creating that relationship. They're not really feeling they're not really making it feel like it's a team. And the reason is because they don't know what to say, probably, and they don't know how to say it. So they avoid. They'll avoid conflict. They'll avoid talking to people. They'll avoid people in general, probably. They've probably got the door shut and they're scribbling away trying to do stuff, but they're not actively bringing the team together, which means they probably do too much. Because the team don't get a chance to join in and people feel a bit left out and they feel like it's not a team, it's just a group of people doing similar things, let's say. But the point is that they are busy, sticking their head in the sand, not dealing with the problems that it's causing. Because if you're not dealing with conflict, if you're not dealing with issues, if you're not speaking to people and working on relationships and those things, then it doesn't go away. And the ostrich is doing exactly that, hoping that all these little people issues would just go away and everybody would just get on with their job, so that we can just get on with what we're doing. But actually they never do go away because we're humans, we're not machines. And so ignoring these issues means that the team gets more and more conflict, gets more and more toxic. And the reality is that these tiny little things that people ignore get very big very quickly. So the ostrich is somebody who you feel that, although kind of a nice person, you just don't feel like, maybe they might say they're on your side, but they don't deal with the issue that you have. So you might be frustrated because you've got a boss like this. Hopefully you're not the boss like this. And if you are, then just have a think about what the impact of that is. Is it hoping things are going to go away when somebody highlights a problem or says, Bob's bullying me or whatever that thing may be? Hoping they're going to go away is going to cause major conflict, major problems in the future. And so we have to take responsibility for what's happening, so that we deal with it. We get rid of it before it gets all big and hairy and horrid. Make sense? Yeah. So then the last one we want to talk about today is the snake. And that's why we have a picture of a snake saying best boss or whatever it was, world's best boss. Thank you, Rhiannon, for that one. What that was about was, the kind of boss who pretends to be your mate, pretends to be your friend, and and you tell them everything. You tell them all about all your ideas and everything else, and then suddenly you find out they've stolen one, and they're up in a presentation telling them about the idea that you told them about, and they are pretending it's their own. They're labeling it as their own, and that they're saying how wonderful they are, and you know that it was your idea and that was what you said. And what I mean by this snake is that somebody who you can't trust, because they're kind of like going to stab you in the back if you say something, or they're talking about you to other people, or they say to your face that they think you're amazing, but you never get the promotion because they've given it to their mate. So they're not being, what's the word, honest, trustworthy, and they're much more up for themselves, especially when they steal your stuff. So the snake is one of those people that they you know, they're all nice to your face, but they just aren't trustworthy, and you don't know whether you're going to get the sack, whether you're going to be promoted. You don't know whether you're going to look good or you're going to look bad, and you don't know when it's your turn next. So you might see these people talking about other people to you, or doing something in front of you. You think, well, I'm glad it's not me. But what you need to be aware of is, with this person, you don't know when you might be next. So what do you do with all these people? Well, I think that you should absolutely look at whether or not any of these traits are sitting with you, and look at who you've got in your team. Because if you've got leaders in your team or people of influence in your team that are in these boxes, then you need to deal with it. You can't be the ostrich yourself. You have to deal with some of this stuff. Okay. And it might mean that you need to do some more training with them. It might mean you need to get them to be a bit more conscious of the impact that they have on them, on each other and on other people. If it's your boss, slightly trickier, you may need to deal with that issue, but we need to have the conversation consciously about what's going on, what the impact of this person is at whatever level. And if it's you and you're saying, God, you know what, I think I do that, then maybe we need to look at ourselves as to, how do I show up? What am I putting out there? What do I do that's either good or not so good, to create collaboration and trust and communication so that we work together? Because if there's something you need to do, then you need to do it now. And if you would like some help with getting conscious and understanding your behaviors, then please give me a shout, message me, because that's what we do. We work with leaders who are technically fabulous at what they do, but want to grow their leadership capability. And it might be that you have a team within your organization of leaders. I've just been speaking to a lovely lady today who had some heads of department that needed to do exactly this. And so we can work with them, or it might be yourself and or a group of others. And we have open programs where you can bring one or two on, or you can have a program in-house for your business if it's at the size that you need it to. So give me a shout if that's something you would like to do and like to implement in your business. And remember, whether you're a snake, hopefully not, a seagull, a mushroom leader, I've forgotten the other one. What was the other one? Hold on. Snake, seagull, ostrich, or ostrich. We need to understand at what time am I doing this? Is it appropriate? Do I need to change for the greater good of the whole team? Okay, I shall love you and leave you. I'll see you tomorrow for the next edition of Team on Fire. Take care.